Hello, friends. Welcome back to Inlera University. I am Jasmine Vieles. So excited that you are here. Here's the thing. In this space, we oftentimes want to address things from a place of dreams and excitement and give you all of the possibilities, but not give you the real talk and kind of the devil's advocate version. And so today we're going to have a conversation about healthcare administration. Really, is it even necessary to have a certain type of certification or a certain type of degree? And then let's have a real conversation with an expert to find out whether it was really worth it to go down the path of all of that education, because I know so many of you want to know that. So if you're new here, welcome. My name is Jasmine. As I said, in this space, we alleviate the stress and confusion in the business of healthcare. As you listen to today's conversation, if you like it, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and make sure you hit that subscribe button so that you can stay connected to all that you need to know in the world of healthcare in the US. Thank you so much for your time and attention. And today I'm going to welcome back René Lumain, a guest that we've had on the channel quite often. René, thank you so much for being with us again today.
Well, thank you for having me. It's a pleasure.
I love it. So here's the deal is you and I both have had a long journey in healthcare. I've been in for, I like to say, a quarter of a century. It just sounds so dramatic. And you've been in for almost 2 decades, pretty much, right? And
Hmm.
so we have a lot to say. And unfortunately, there's not a lot of us who even, and I'm guilty of this too on this channel, is I can talk about all the incredible things and the exciting things, but really don't always talk about like, is it even necessary to do something? And then really, was it worth it at the end of the day when we look back on our careers? So today, I'd like for you to share a little bit about what from your perspective, having an MHA, and we first speak a little bit to what exactly the MHA is, and then was it really necessary for you to go through that type of degree program to be successful in healthcare?
Absolutely. Well, so the MHA, it stands for Masters in Health Administration. And for me, I remember just being really young in the healthcare industry and learning about healthcare administration. Um, I, at the time, I felt like I need to have my master's in order for me to eventually achieve to become a CEO, right? And so now, is it worth it getting this degree? And the way I would answer that question, it really depends on your career path, especially in the field of healthcare administration. If if you know you want to work in a hospital setting and you want to be a senior executive, I would say absolutely, you will need it. You can be very good at what you do, right? You understand how everything works. You're politically correct all the time. You're really great at relationship building. They would love you, but not having that degree will only take you so far. And that's the honest truth. Now, let's take a step back. Let's say you're on the outpatient side where let's say you're a practice manager. And I've seen practice managers who don't have a master's in health administration or even a bachelor's in healthcare management or healthcare administration. Now, on that side of it, you may not necessarily need it, but it also depends, are you managing a small medical practice? If that's the case, you probably don't need it. But if you're good at what you do and the doctors trust you, then no, you don't need it. Um, you can even go as far as even a large healthcare system like HCA Physician Services, right? I mean, I actually had practice managers who may not have had a bachelor's degree, but because they worked there for so long, they eventually earned their way to that position, and that's okay too. But if you ask me, is there a path for them to go any further? Probably not. And so you just kind of have to pick and choose where you are in life now and where you want to be. Certain roles will command to have that master's in healthcare administration. And that's the honest truth to it.
So good. So what I hear you saying is like for you, it was absolutely needed because you knew
Yes,
what your goal was. And so
correct.
you're saying that people really should have a clear sense of what their goals are before they kind of make a decision on whether to get it. And you touched on something that I think is really helpful, which is if you already know that you want to go in a certain direction, meaning hospital versus outpatient or private practice, like if that's something
Hmm.
that you already know, you might want to do a little bit of research recon on what exactly are they saying is required, because a lot
Correct.
of roles in the hospital sector have requirements, degree requirements, certification requirements that are going to hinder you. That, is
Yes.
that accurate?
And and you know what? Another thing too, for me in my mind, I want to be as competitive as possible, right? So when somebody look at my resume, it's going to tell them the body of work, my experience, and the knowledge that I possess. And I want them to be able to say, man, he doesn't have not just one master's, he has two masters, right? And so for me, I just knew that I was walking into a field, a career field, where there probably wasn't going to be a whole lot of people who look like me, right? So I have to be as impressive as possible. I wanted to make it hard for them to just turn me away. Just like, man, this guy has experience, he has the degrees, he meet all the necessary qualifications for this job. And so so for me, it's just making myself as competitive as possible. And I would always tell anybody that. And the thing is this, sometimes you may not realize it when you first get into this field, how far you want to go, but maybe at some point you might realize, you know what, I think I could be a CEO, or you know what, maybe an opportunity does present itself, then you want to be ready for that moment as well too. And so because I've met a lot of people where they realize, you know what, I want to go for this director role, but I don't have a bachelor's degree or I don't have a master's degree. Now they're working and going to school, and that's tough. That is tough to do. And it's not impossible, but it's like prepare yourself for that moment before it even, shows itself, right? So if you have that master's degree, then at this point it's all about performance based and making the right connections.
It's true. I love what you said there. It is one of the easier ways to stand out. And it's interesting. It's like standing out in the right ways, like on a
Mhm.
piece of paper, is really the first possible step to making sure people keep you at the top of the list of
Right.
applicants. But so just having these alphabet after your name, right?
Yeah.
Having these different either certifications or degrees that are after your name speak to not necessarily like, oh, I hope they know. It's like, well, there was already a third party that verified their knowledge by way
Yeah.
of lots of exams to be able to
Hmm.
give you these alphabets. And so the truth is that it takes the onus away from them trying to kind of independently certify your knowledge. Instead, there was already another body that has done it. So it
Correct.
shows a bit more of the qualifications just from that base level of, yes, you know what you know because it's been certified by another party. Now it's just
Correct.
getting to know you as a person. And just to your point, like
Exactly.
we've raised the bar of like, okay, here's Renee,
Hmm.
equal with these other folks. Yes, we have other biases that exist in the world, unfortunately, that work
Hmm.
against us, people of color,
Right.
all of the
Hmm.
other things that, we have to contend with, but at least it keeps us competitive with other
Yes.
folks in the industry. And then now it's just how we show up in the room or on
Correct.
the phone call or whatever. Right. And so it
Absolutely.
helps us to set us apart. Right.
Absolutely. And I can tell you, for me, I think I've been very fortunate. Just whenever I've applied somewhere, I've been able to make it to the interview room, right? And make it to a couple of interviews. And that's where you want to be, right? Because sometimes nowadays, some people say, man, I can't even get an interview, right? And so this is where you have to just kind of look and say, okay, what's going to make me competitive? And even then, too, right? This might be a little bit off topic, but getting certifications, right? I mean, you can even go through MGMA and get a certification to truly validate your expertise and knowledge in healthcare administration. They have that. And so that goes a long way too. So
Mhm.
it's so much, and a lot of great information that's out there.
Yeah, and it's not off topic because that's true. Is like one of the values of certifications is it helps to boost our confidence. So
Yeah.
folks who have worked in industry for a long time, and maybe you've been in private practice for a while, and you're like really trying to move over into a higher level leadership in a hospital sector, like you might be
Mhm.
questioning if what you know is the right thing to know in this other
Right.
environment. Also, if you've been in one specialty, you're trying to pivot to another specialty. All of these questions come up and like that imposter syndrome creeps in. So doing a
Hmm.
certification program could be an easy way for you to just give yourself that thumbs up. And I recommend this for even folks that are in like medical billing who've been billers for 10 years. They've been in the
Yep.
same practice for a certain period. And it's like, I don't know if what I'm doing is what people would suggest. That's just the way that I've been doing it for all these years. And so
Right.
now it's like you go into this program, you get that thumbs up, this notch of approval and kind of a notch in your belt that says, yes, what you know is true and accurate, that accurately represents the revenue cycle. And so we can move forward with that in confidence. So it gives you the confidence, but then it also allows the other people very easily to see you as someone who has the skills
Hmm.
foundationally based on the certification programs requirements. And so
Right.
I do recommend, though, this is just something for folks in general to know, is like stay with programs that are known, right? Like
Yes.
the alphabet that Renee has, they're known. The programs that MGMA has, or if you're doing things with AAPC or other organizations, even AHIMA,
Hmm.
like stay with the organizations that have known alphabets, because sometimes you
Right.
end up with these other ones, and it's not that it necessarily doesn't mean anything. The challenge is it's not easily like, oh, now I know what they know. Because when they see
Correct.
something recognizable, if I have a CPC, someone immediately knows that I know coding. Like that, they're like, oh, medical coding, cool, like that's great. They know that. Or if someone has like a compliance certification, it just communicates that when it's a familiar one right away, instead of them saying, okay, those are alphabet, but I don't know what those are. And they're not going
Hmm.
to do the extra work to research it. They're just going to go to the next, resume. So, um,
True. Absolutely.
love it.
Absolutely. Thank you
Was it
for
worth it for
touching
you
on that.
personally, Renee, to do the MHA?
Uh, yes, yes, it was. Again, for me, I look at my career and the opportunities that were presented to me, and to be able to make it to senior executive position prior to, stepping out and starting my own company. But I would say yes. I like to look at my family history and how far we've come, and I like to say I've pushed that bar high, right? And so I'm very appreciative of it, but I also understand that it doesn't matter how much degrees and certifications you get. Your success is not just you, right? Because there's always people that's going to mentor you and guide you along the journey, and that's another invaluable thing. And
Yeah.
so for me, it has put me in a position where, I could command a certain salary and to be able to take care of my family. And so I'm definitely a lot of hard work, but definitely it was well worth it for sure.
Love it. Thank you for saying that and
Mhm.
bringing it home with the reality of like your deeper why, right? So good.
Mhm.
So good. So
Absolutely.
Renee, I'm excited to share that you've been so gracious to extend an opportunity for some folks in healthcare administration to reach out to you when they feel a little lost and want to just be able to get support, maybe from a mentorship perspective or a coach perspective. So would you share how folks could get in touch with you if they wanted to do so?
Absolutely. You can reach me on my email. It is Renee at mpmastery.com. It's Rene at mpmastery.com. Or you can find me on LinkedIn. Please connect with me there. Send me a message, and let's talk.
Love it. Renee, it's always so great having you on. I'm going to make sure that all of your contact information is in the description box below as well. And my friends, stick around, I should say. There's a lot of really great conversations here in Inlera University in this coming year, and also on our programs online as well. And you can hear from experts like René Lumain. So if you're interested in learning about memberships, pop into the description box below. And again, stick around because we've got so much more. And until then, we'll see you in the next video. Thank you, Renee.
It's a pleasure. Thank you, Jesse.